Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inhouse Salesman. I'm your host, Mario, together with my phenomenally looking host, Julio here. Hey, Julio, how are you, man?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Doing good, doing good. Podcast where we talk all things sales, completely raw and unfiltered. And in today's episode, we have a very special guest, I would say. Tal, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me, guys. My pleasure being here.
No problem. So today's topic is very close to Tal's heart. He actually does that for a living, and we'll at least try to have a nice debate about it. And it is fractional VP sales, which is a service that he's offering, versus having a VP sales in-house, right? So Tal, I'll just throw it up to you. Just maybe do a little bit of intro, and then we will dive straight into the topic itself.
All right. My name is Tal Paperin, and when people say, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm a salesman. I've been a salesman for about 24 years now. Started at the bottom as an SDR, AE, BD, regional director, country manager, global manager, ended up being VP sales, VP global sales, VP global business development and sales. 20 years into it. And then I looked around and I realized that a lot of my buddies are out of work because everybody knows how to come up with a good product to the market. Doesn't matter what the product is. It could be a software, tomato, or jet, or drone. It doesn't matter what it is. But if you look around, you'll notice that 9 out of 10 companies are going bankrupt. And they're going bankrupt not because the product is bad, the product is good, because they simply don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to sell it because the founders or the guys that are at the top, they are product people. They know how to design and develop a product or how to grow a tomato if they're farmers. They have no idea how to sell it. A lot of them don't even realize that they need someone that does, like VP sales.
Okay,
and
let me quickly stop you there. I would say in kind of like 2023, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially the tech founders that I'm talking with a lot of tech founders. They do realize, oh crap, we need this thing called sales. We need this thing called money.
Mario, at what stage?
Mario,
how early into the process do they realize that? Because a lot of them realize that only once they ran out of money.
True.
Well, excellent question. I would say, at least based on what I'm seeing, have in mind, I'm talking mostly with startups in Baltics or / here in Balkans. They do realize it at kind of fairly early stages, right? So maybe before
I live in Israel, and we're called the startup nation. The amount of startups in Israel is insane. My customers are usually either from Israel or the vast majority are from the United States. They all are pretty much identical, and it doesn't matter what the product is, software, hardware, IoT, SaaS, you name it. They have an idea, they pitch the idea to investors, the investors are giving them money, they say, great, we'll take that money, we'll put it into development, they develop, and then they end up with a product but no money for salespeople or marketing or sales. And then they say, oh shit, we need sales. Then they go back to investors, which would be a VC, and they say, now we have a product, can you give us some more money? At that point, the vast majority of investors have a rule. The rules say, until you have money incoming from sales, we're not giving you another dollar. There's in games theory, there's this game called the gambler, meaning that once you invest, you will continue investing, and the more you invest, the harder it is to stop. Investors know that, so they will not give you any money.
Julia and I actually talked that. That's one of the biases that the commitment bias, where you actually commit to it and then just can't kind of get out of it.
It's called the sunken cost fallacy.
Sunken
right?
cost fallacy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Julia, what are so this is an interesting intro right to the topic. So what are your comments on this?
I mean, look, I talk to a lot of startups as well because I collaborate with a VC. And so I have a lot of these conversations. I do think that some part of the investment world is becoming a bit smarter. And they're starting to look at like, if they have no sales strategy, no way. Because as Tal was saying, right, like you got these founders with these great ideas and they've got this, I call it the founder syndrome, thinking everyone wants to buy your shit when no one does. Really?
Yes, yes. And it's especially, you know, if you're a marketing company or like an outsourced outbound services and you try to pitch your services, usually those founders would be astonished. They're like, I need marketing? Have a line through the door of people trying to help me.
Tal, I don't know if you heard, but there is this thing called money or revenue that you go to shops and buy food.
Come on, guys. You're being a little bit unfair, I think. I mean,
we are being unfair.
Not all founders are idiots.
No,
no. Only about 90%, not all.
well, to be fair, only 10% of startups make it, right? So that those numbers are just about
your
right.
statistic tracks.
Listen, I don't want to start giving examples from like this week or last week or a year ago. Sure, the VCs are getting smarter, but a lot of companies are getting their money not from VCs, they're getting it from private investors.
So, Tal,
and those are not getting smarter. They're not.
Tal,
okay.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, and we can then let's move into the topic of VP sales versus fractional, right? And then this is kind of where we will end this very lovely discussion that I'm very fond of. Do you think that founders, as time goes on, are more aware earlier? Oh, we definitely need revenue. Is that a consequence of investors pushing that, or what do you attribute that to?
So the startup world is relatively small. So you hear news. By now, everybody knows that unless you get revenue and you get sales, you will go under. So on one hand, this become general knowledge. Everybody knows that on one hand. So yes, a lot of founders are aware of that and they're smarter on this specific topic. But on the other hand, your typical founder is a software engineer, a hardware engineer, a doctor or a farmer, or, you know, they do not think sales, business development, leads, road to market. All of those words are foreign to them. They don't think that way. All they think about is product, features, potential benefits. They're product oriented.
All right. So let's say let's dive into the topic, right? So let's say tech founder, fine, or okay, well, let's keep it a tech founder, right? So has a little bit of traction. So he sells his product either within his network or in the network of some of the early investors, and he kind of raises like the first round, like either pre-series A, like 2 or 3 million, or whatever he raised, right? So it's now time to hire his first salesperson. So let's agree. And Julie and I did have a topic. So guys,
we like
please,
this.
Yep, we had a topic whether or not you should hire a VP sales first or a salesperson first. So we already kind of covered this topic, but you can check out it. It's some of our previous episodes. So let's say that they want to hire VP sales. What would be some of the benefits of hiring fractional, for example? So just for everyone that doesn't know, fractional would be hiring someone that is not a part of your organization. So he's not hired by your company, but rather acts as a contractor / consultant outside of your company. So that would be kind of the rough definition, right?
Okay, so to quickly answer this question, I cannot imagine starting a business or a company without having a VP sales. Not salespeople, not an SDR. You have somebody who's in charge of the tech side, a CTO, you have a CEO, and you must have VP sales. You must. Why? He's the one that's in charge of the overall strategy. Where are you going? How are you going to develop? What are you going to develop? What are you going to sell? How's the money going to come in? And so on and so forth. So you need a VP sales. That's obvious and that's a given. And if you don't understand that, just shut down now and go be somebody else's employee. Okay. You realize that. So now you need one. Where do you get one? You hire one. Option number one would be to have somebody fully dedicated only to you in-house.
Yes.
But just like with any other profession, you need to pay him a salary. How much money does a VP sales makes in the United States?
Oh, I would say salaries begin from 10, 12K and up.
$300,000 is the average VP sales in the United States.
100?
300,000.
300K?
Wow.
$300,000. Okay.
Oh, wow. All right.
Starts. I'm not saying senior vice president because those go for $500,000 a year. Okay. Now you are a founder and you have some money. You understand that you need a VP sales. You open the internet. You check to see the salary and you say, how much? $500,000. So now you're stuck with several options. Option number one, you appoint one of your co-founders to be the VP sales. I saw it happening. I was at a team meeting where they flipped a coin. They flipped a coin, and the guy that lost became the VP sales.
The guy that lost. Oh my God!
What?
The guy says, dudes, I don't want to be doing this job. I'm a software engineer. I don't want to. Like, listen, that's you. You are the VP sales. Now we don't care. That's your job. Somebody has to do it. You go do it. Okay. That guy called me, brought me in, and they all told me this story, laughing their asses off, saying, but we're about to run out of money, so we need a solution ASAP. So that'll be option number one, to appoint somebody from within the company. Option number two, the best one.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let's play fair here, because that's one case scenario, right? Like in a lot of companies, when you start with a founding team, you will have a guy with commercial background. Not always, but let's say 1 out of 3, maybe a bit more, will be a guy that's a sales.
Less. 1 out of 10 at best. If it's tech, if it's technology we're speaking about, way less. How does a startup come? How does a startup?
Okay. So maybe in Israel, this is
No, not in Israel. Not in Israel. A startup. I speak to people like from MIT and Harvard and Israel. Usually 2-3 guys, roommates. They know each other from school. They know each other from the army or from whatever. They are in the same position, in the same education, in the same class, in the same degree. They decide together to build the company, but they are pretty much the same person from, or the same profession, but 2, 3, 4 different people. So why would somebody who did an MBA run into those guys? They're not in the same school or class.
Yeah, but what target of the market, and I don't want to get stuck in this, but what target of the market is just fresh graduates starting a company? Right, I can't imagine is such an incredibly high percentage of the market. Just 3 guys in a dorm.
This is a little bit different in US. In US, when you go to college, especially technical, you are actually encouraged to do the research, develop some kind of tech, and then open a company. You actually have systems and professors pushing you to do this. This is I would say, less common in Europe than it is common, I would say, over the Atlantic.
So I've met founders that were founders for the 3rd or the 4th time. They went through the same process. They founded a company. The company went under. They became employees in another tech company, founded another company, and all of this without realizing that they keep failing because nobody's in charge of business development or sales.
I work,
but we're missing the point. Let's go back to the topic.
Yeah.
Imagine those guys understand that they need to bring somebody with experience. Okay, they're usually young. They need somebody more senior with sales and business development experience. $300,000. Let's not go over the top. Plus, he would require equity. So 300K plus equity are kind of harsh conditions. Comparing that to a fractional that is what, like 10, 20% of debt and no equity. So you're paying a fraction of the cost.
Well, I would say you're looking at only the monetary value. If you were to remove that, so let's say that a startup can actually hire maybe not senior world class, but he can hire like a decent VP sales.
They should.
Yeah.
Then they should. They should not look at fractional. They should get somebody who's dedicated 100% to their company and knows exactly what he's doing and take it forward. Absolutely. If they can afford it.
I would actually argue something slightly different. And this is based on my experience, but
yeah,
I'm always up for permanent employees. You know, like I think obviously you keep the value, etc. However, I've seen a lot of the time founders, they also not very good at hiring, are they? They haven't had much hiring experience. And that I think is way worse because paying $300,000 for the right person, fuck it. But how many hires actually work out, especially in sales where you have on the other side someone that's really good at selling themselves, even if it's a charlatan, is going to know how to be a charlatan, right? And then at that point, I think the worst problem is not paying the 300K, is paying 300K and after 6 months realizing that you paid
forget the 6 months. You'll realize that within 2 months. But
if you have
an unlimited, if you have unlimited, I'll tell you the perfect scenario. Okay, the perfect scenario. In a perfect scenario, the founders are going to the VC, and the VC says, "Okay, you'll get the money, but we will hire an HR company, and we're gonna lend a permanent VP sales for equity and money in your company." That's the perfect scenario.
That is, yes.
Second best is no VC. The startup or the company themselves realize that they need one. They will hire a professional HR agency and they will get themselves a VP sales. But once again, at this point, the cost is skyrocketing. We're looking at it annually. Forget annually. Many startups are, let's say, service-based, okay, like freight forwarding or home care, you name it, okay? They're all based on private capital. So they need a VP sales. So per month, that VP sales will charge them around $30,000, $35,000. The recruiter will charge them another $30,000. So month one, they have $60,000 expense. Imagine that VP sales is bad and leaves 2 months into the job. You're spending way past $100,000 and you got 0 results at that point. Compare it to, once again, a fractional VP sales that will charge you $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 a month. And if you don't like him, you'll set him out. Yeah. So we're talking about 10% of the cost in Q1.
Yeah. I do tend to agree with you here, right? But here's my side of how I'm looking, right? So fractional, one of the issues you may have with fractional is that he's not a good fit culturally, right? However, that's one of the concerns, right? However, do you care? What I mean by that is
no.
He's here to put up your systems and to start fucking selling. That's it. That he's experienced, he will ramp up quickly, and he will start selling fairly fast, where you will get feedback from the market. In-house, there is, and I've read a study somewhere, I think it was either Gardner or some of these big orgs. In-house, let's even say that you're paying fractional the same rate as you would pay in-house. There is a 30% added cost which is vacations,
Mhm.
sick
Well, no-
leaves.
Not in the US.
Not in the US.
Oh, well, I did the calculations for several companies. Okay, so let's talk about costs. On average, I end up being 10% of the cost in the States.
Mhm.
In Israel, I'm a little bit more, but once again, it's not passing the 20%.
Mhm. Mhm. Makes
Well,
sense.
Julie, you had an excellent point here. So let's talk about and Tal, then you can open a door a little bit to what you do with this question. That is time to hire. So tell me, how long does it take again to hire a in-house VP of sales?
Look,
How long is the
in the
hiring?
US, you might be faster because notice periods are really short. But if you're talking about Europe, like if you like someone in Germany, they could
3
literally,
months.
3 months, sometimes even longer. So, and that adds to the risk, right? Because you still have someone coming in and all these problems that it could generate. So
How long do they last on the job on average? VP sales.
that
European official statistic is 18 months for VP sales in Europe. This is Europe.
that's not great
Oh,
anyway. Is it?
I think this is European data. I'm not sure about the US data.
That is way. Okay.
It's still not great. It's
Ask
still not great.
ChatGPT.
No. So according to Gong, an old one from 2018, it keeps shrinking.
It does keep
So
shrinking.
at some point it was 26 months. In 2018, it was 19 months.
Yeah.
And I've heard in some positions as low as 10 months.
Which is, what are you going to get done in 10 months anyway?
You can't do anything in 10 months.
Now, listen, I can achieve a lot in 1 month. It's all a matter of expectations. What do you expect to achieve? Okay. I don't know. Some companies scale up and rocket and being sold under a year. So I'm assuming you can, but it's all a matter like it's a question: are you in the long run? Are you in the long game, or you're here for the short stay?
Also, the mentality. So this goes to mindset, right? And Julia, you and I talked about it a lot. This goes to mindset, right? So if you're a full-time hire in-house, you have a different mentality than in sales than in if you were to be fractional, because fractional and you're out, you're out of the job. You're done.
True.
But in-house, you kind of have a little bit of security, a little bit of runway leeway, I would say, right? So then how, to Tal's point, how you approach the job is different.
True. Well,
absolutely.
I mean, it's like you're working on contingency, right? Either you make it work or you can go away. Basically, that's that. But I generally think that in the ideal world these days, I think most people should always start with something like this. Like it's like same as recruitment, right? You start with a recruitment agency, then you hire your own talent acquisition team, right? Once things are settled, and it's okay to potentially spend more because, Tal, of course, you're going to be cheaper overall, but per hour, you're actually going to be more expensive because you're going to have way less time with the company. But that's okay.
Limited availability.
Exactly. It's going to be, but at the same time, it's like, I think it's okay to have a higher cost at the beginning for reduced cost, for reduced risk, because risk is far more dangerous than the cost. So I think the best case scenario, you start with contingent labor, and then in the 6 months that Tal is fractional, let's say, you can even get Tal to help you select the new VP, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's, I think, a consultant that lives forever in a company is bad, because if you're coming to fix a problem and you're there forever, something is not going right.
Something is not good.
Yeah. I mean, you're making them dependent on you, right? So I think, but at the same time, if you're staying there and you're fixing the problem, you should be able to make yourself redundant at a certain point. And that's the part that I think
that should be the mindset. Yes.
Yeah,
Fractional.
yeah.
Like, come in and I want to work myself out of the job.
Yeah, that's the thing I tell all
Yeah.
my clients is like, look, I'm a sales trainer. If you have to call me in 3 months about the same problem, I've not done it right.
By the way, companies have in-house sales trainers because there's a turnover of salespeople. So
Yeah.
you train salespeople, and 4 months later they're left for a better job.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Tal, how do you let's you did say a very important word there, and that is managing expectations, right? So can you tell us a little bit about when you are talking with a aforementioned founder, right? So who is considering hiring you and your company as fractional, how do you manage expectations, right? So how do you mitigate the risk for them?
Interesting.
Not
That is now, though the question is logical, in let's say the past 5 years, I maybe had one case of mismatch, but pretty much from the first conversation, we are on the same page.
Okay.
People are talking to me, or I talk to people, and we both know what we want to achieve and have some kind of an idea of how we're going to achieve it. Okay, like be it building a sales team or opening up new entities all across the globe. We understand what is required. We understand what's the budget, or have a rough idea what's involved. Sometimes we're a bit off on the timeline. They say, can it be done in 3 months? I say, it probably can be done in 6. Or sometimes they say it'll take you a year, and I'll say, no, it's probably going to take way less, like 6 months. But that's pretty much the first or second conversation. Like, usually I speak to intelligent people that understand what's involved and have a
And what
grasp
they
of
need.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
what they need.
But
Yeah.
I'm also assuming, Tal, that you're probably getting 90% of your business from referrals. So people are already coming to you referred from someone else because they've heard about you. So it makes the conversation even easier. I'm guessing.
No, referrals would be about 10%.
Really?
90% is cold outreach.
So you cold outreaching for your own job. Interesting.
It's either me cold outreaching or they do the cold outreach to me.
No. Okay.
You can call it inbound leads, but
Okay, but then it's
day,
word of mouth, right? Because at that point they're coming to you because someone talked to them about it, right?
No, they saw me on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for 18 years. 18 years, a bit more. I post every single day. I used to post twice a day. I spam people like crazy in automation tools and manually.
LinkedIn, if you're listening to this, Tal is not using automation on his LinkedIn profile, so do not.
Oh yeah. I meant not automation tools.
Dude, there was a huge backlash, I think, yesterday that Zoom, we are using Zoom, changed their terms and conditions that said we can use the recordings to train our AI models, and then everyone erupted.
Listen, this is the 21st century. Whomever would like to know all about you, they know all about you.
Yeah, exactly.
They already know all about you.
They have your retina scan from a satellite. They know where you are, what you do. They know your bank account. Dude, so it's pathetic to think that we're using like Android phones or some kind of an Apple system and somebody doesn't know something about us. We're long gone.
True. I also get pissed off when people when Italy blocked ChatGPT and they were like, oh, there's some serious issues about privacy. I was like, that's really what you're worried about? We have way
and 90% of Italian population has Facebook, where you volunteer your private information. What the hell?
Exactly.
You know,
complete nonsense.
So, for example, I train a lot of salespeople, and I need to hear the recordings, right? The cold recordings, and a lot of them are calling from their mobiles. So in the United States, the mobile phones are blocked from recording a call. I don't know if you guys use apps for that, or you have a built-in, right? Your dialer has a built-in call recorder.
Yeah.
In the States, it doesn't work. They don't have that button. The feature is disabled.
Oh, wow.
And there's a constant battle between Android and Google Play, the Play Store. All the apps that are there that claim to be able to record the calls, they only record your side, not the other side.
Ooh.
So the privacy battles are here to stay, and they're here for us, the salespeople, to win. Like, you remember when GDPR came out, right? You can't. Are we all laughing about it, and we're still spamming people and call everybody, and we don't care about GDPR rules, right?
No.
Of course we don't.
If they invoke it, you say, "Oh,
I don't know what
sorry.
you guys are talking about. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm in Israel. Come sue me. You're in Germany? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Come sue
Well,
me.
if you were, and I worked with a German company, and I had few of those, and we just politely apologize. We say, we thought you would really benefit from our business. We will delete everything. And then they say, okay, I can just delete my information. All right, we will delete it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of effort out there to make our jobs harder.
Yes.
Privacy, and we still don't care, just like we never did. We don't care.
I'm
Now
guessing
they say,
we are three salespeople that truly don't give a shit.
no. And now they say, AI is going to replace salespeople. Yeah.
Yeah, right. We had a conversation with Christian about it, right?
That was funny. That was
super cool.
I work with several Israeli startups that compete against each other. They developed AI tools that it's an auto dialer. It calls you. Now, how did they reach me? Okay, I get a phone call from the government. And it talks to me and it says like, did you renew this? And I have a conversation, and then I hang up and I get another phone call 2 minutes later, and it's a guy. The guy introduces himself and says, you just got a call from Home Front Command, the military. I'm like, yes, I did. How do you know? You're like, I'm the guy that wrote the software. That was a robot. You did not speak to a person.
Wow.
I was
the government.
I was blown away. So
Shit.
hospitals and medicals and the army is using this perfect AI. Perfect. You are incapable of telling that it's a robot. So they say, so they came to me and they said, let's do it for sales. Let's see if we can replace SDRs at least. It's been in progress and development for like 2 years now. It's nowhere near good. It can verbally say a script and it can recognize 5 to 10 responses, 20 responses. But people will have any unusual or not standard response. So it doesn't know what to do with it. It tries to outloop and it knows how to trick a person, but Tesla. Do you remember when the famous Tesla call?
Of course.
And everybody was so excited. Like, oh my God, that was so perfect. But you can hear delays. It was a shitty call.
Terrible.
That was a shitty call.
Well, guys, let's be honest. If you compare it to a lot of SDRs calls, it was okay.
Mean. Look, the topic of AI, especially in cold calling, what I'm seeing and what will most likely happen is Europe being the first one. If you are using such a service, I think the AI will have to say that this is AI calling or this is a machine or robotic call. Would you like to continue?
Yes.
So this is what Europe will do for like 100%, like European Union.
I'm sure.
I think every other country will follow that suit. So
listen, SDRs is a completely different topic.
SDRs jobs are safe.
I hired several SDRs. I pay SDRs. I pay them $8,000 a month, a person. I have some SDRs that I pay them about $5,000 a month. I have a bunch of SDRs whom I'm paying around $20 an hour. Okay. But then I also had an office of SDRs in Ukraine that was charging me $300 a month. $300 a month, 8 hours a day. So I have an
Wow.
SDR working 48 hours a week. Close to, yeah,
$4 an hour. $4 an hour, literally.
$300
Less,
a
maybe.
month. And you can very clearly see the difference in the outcome. I would pitch them against each other. Okay, we're selling the same product out of the United States, Israel, the UK, and Ukraine to the same target audience in America. And it was different people, and obviously we had turnover of people, but you could see the huge gap in the results. Okay, if the Israelis were booking 2 meetings a day, the Americans were booking 4 meetings a day. The Ukrainians were booking 1 meeting every 3-4 days. Like,
of course, yeah. All right. As
Anyway.
usual with this podcast, we completely gone off topic.
We always do. We always do.
We always do. All right. So, Tal, thanks so much for joining us today. This was a very fun conversation. At the end, I'll let you have just like a closing words, right? And feel free to do a little bit of promo, and then Julia and I will kind of wrap it up.
Okay. I don't need to be doing that much of a promo. Should I start now?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. I always say that my best customers usually call me in tears. I need somebody who's crying, saying, help, I need help. We're about to shut down. The investors pull out the money. Nobody's buying our cheap, shitty product that we thought would be great. Or excuse me, our expensive, shitty product. We're sorry. We were wrong. We were wrong. Please help. If you are listening to this podcast, and this is you thought that you could generate revenue, but you can't, and you have some money left to hire me, perhaps I'd be able to rescue you. But if not, we're going to have at least some fun time trying. How's this for a promo?
Very good.
That was great. That was great.
Julio, final thoughts? Fractional versus in-house?
Just repeat what I said earlier. I think the best solution would be to go for a higher cost, lower risk solution at the beginning, and then eventually put in a permanent option into place, unless you can have, as Tal was mentioning, like a VC recommending someone or hire someone already that's really good. But either way, reducing risk in the end of the day is money.
Yeah, I agree here. In the beginning, especially if you're a tech founder, if you haven't hired salespeople / sales executive before, get an experienced fractional, let him or her create systems, do selling in the beginning, just set everything up, and then slowly get him or her to work out of the job. Cool.
Yep.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. This was a really fun talk, and
absolutely.
I wish you all best of luck.
Mario, where are you located these days?
These days I am back in Serbia.
Serbia.
Yeah.
I thought of going to either Serbia or Slovakia this summer, and I eventually just came back from Germany.
Come to Serbia if you're eating meat. I'll take you to best meat ever.
You know what that means?
I know what that means. Well, still.
I went to Germany. I went to Germany for a week, and I ate only salads, fruit, vegetables, and eggs and fish.
Nice.
So
then you will not enjoy Serbia, my friend.
I'm gonna go for the view. The views are great.
You can come for the view. Yeah. Cool.
Cheers,
all right,
everyone.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
See you guys online.